What if I told you that every problem you think you have, the stress, the anxiety, the frustration, the feeling that life is just not going your way, what if none of that is actually caused by your job, your relationships, your money, or your circumstances? What if the real problem is something happening inside your own head right now without your permission? Most people go their entire lives never realizing this. They keep chasing external solutions to an internal problem. A better job, a better partner, a better city, and yet the chaos follows them everywhere they go, because the chaos was never outside them to begin with. Today, we are breaking down a powerful book called How to Control Your Mind, Stoicism, Master Your Thoughts, Master Your Life. And what you're about to hear could genuinely change the way you think, the way you react, and the way you live, if you're willing to sit with it. This is not a motivational speech. This is a system, an ancient one, built by some of the most powerful and tested minds in human history. And it works just as well today, maybe even better, because the world has never been more chaotic, more distracting, or more designed to steal your attention than it is right now. So let's get into it. There was a Roman emperor named Marcus Aurelius. He ruled one of the greatest empires in history. He commanded armies. He managed political enemies. He faced plagues, wars, and betrayals. And yet, the thing he wrote about most in his private journal, never meant to be published, was the battle inside his own mind. Not the battles on the battlefield. The battle between his impulses and his reason. Between reaction and reflection. Then there was Epictetus, a man who started life as a slave. He had no money, no freedom, no power over anything external. And yet he became one of the most respected philosophers of his time. Why? Because he realized something that most free men never do. He said, and this is the core of everything, it's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters. And finally, Seneca, a wealthy advisor who lost everything multiple times, exiled, stripped of power, threatened with death. And his response each time was the same. Turn inward, master the mind, control what can be controlled. These three men lived completely different lives, different status, different circumstances, and yet they all arrived at the same truth. The mind does not control life. The mind controls your experience of life. Let that sit for a moment, because if that's true, and this book argues powerfully that it is, then the quality of your life is not determined by what happens to you. It's determined by what happens inside you in response. Now here's where it gets interesting and a little uncomfortable. Meet Jake, 26 years old, lives in New York. Smart guy, gets opportunities, job offers, social invitations, career-defining moments. And every single time, his mind fires up the same internal dialogue. What if I fail? What will people think? I'm not ready. So he waits. He hesitates. He does nothing. Months pass, then years. Promotions go to people less qualified. His confidence shrinks, and anxiety becomes so normal that he stops noticing it. It just becomes who he is. But here's what the book reveals about Jake's situation, and it's something most people never consider. Jake's problem was not failure. Jake had never even tried. His problem was that he believed every thought his mind produced was the truth. This is chapter 1 of the Stoic system, and it might be the most important idea in the entire book. You're not your thoughts. You're the observer of your thoughts. Read that again slowly. You're not your thoughts. You are the one watching them. Your mind produces thoughts the same way your stomach produces acid. It's automatic. It's biological. The thought, I'm not ready, appears in your mind the same way a cloud appears in the sky. You did not choose it. It just showed up. And here's the thing about clouds. You don't have to live inside them. Most people grab every thought that appears and treat it like gospel, like a court ruling, like a fact about reality. But Stoicism teaches something radically different. A thought is just a mental event. It is not a verdict. It is not the truth. It is just noise until you decide to give it power. The book offers one of the simplest but most effective exercises you will ever try. The next time a thought appears, especially a fearful or limiting one, ask yourself just one question. Is this a fact, or is this just a mental opinion? Try it right now with something that's been bothering you. Is it actually happening? Or is your mind running a worst-case simulation and presenting it to you as reality? This one shift alone, learning to question your thoughts instead of automatically obeying them, is the foundation of everything that follows. But there's a second layer to this, and this is where things get even more real. Thoughts are one thing. Emotions are another beast entirely. Enter Emily, marketing professional in Los Angeles. Talented, ambitious. One day her boss criticizes her work in a meeting, in front of others, and something in Emily's nervous system activates instantly. The heat rises. The jaw tightens. The mind starts building a case. And before she has time to think, she sends an emotionally charged email. The kind you cannot take back. The kind that gets forwarded. The kind that ends careers quietly and slowly. Weeks later, the promotion she was in line for goes to someone else. Her relationship with her boss never fully recovers. And the worst part? She knew, even as she was sending it, that she might regret it. But the emotion was faster than the thought. Sound familiar? This is Chapter 2 of the system. Emotional control in a reactive world. And here's the core Stoic insight that the book builds this entire chapter around. Emotions are automatic. Reactions are optional. There is a gap, a tiny, almost invisible gap, between the moment something happens to you and the moment you respond. That gap is where your entire life is decided. In that gap lives the difference between Emily sending that email and Emily taking a breath, closing the laptop, and sleeping on it. The Stoics called this the pause, and they trained it like a muscle. Because in the modern world, with notifications, with social media, with instant messaging, with everything demanding an immediate response, that gap is shrinking. The world is literally designed to make you react before you think. Algorithms reward outrage. Platforms profit from impulse. The faster you react, the more engagement is generated. But for you, every impulsive reaction is a small withdrawal from your future. The exercise the book gives here is almost embarrassingly simple. But don't let that fool you. Before responding to anything that triggers you, wait 10 seconds. Literally count. And in those 10 seconds, ask one question. Will this reaction help my future self? Not your present self. Not the version of you that's angry right now. Your future self. The one who will live with the consequences. 10 seconds. That's the gap. That's the power. Now, we're about halfway through, and I want to pause for a second, because if this is resonating with you, if you're already thinking about moments in your own life where a different response might have changed everything, then what we're about to get into is going to hit even harder. But first, if you want the full book, every chapter, every exercise, every story in complete depth, the link is in the description and pinned comment below. Everything we're covering today is just the surface. The real transformation is in reading it yourself. Now, Chapter 3. And this is the one that most people don't want to hear. Meet Mark, college student in Texas. Not dumb, not unlucky, just deeply, completely addicted to comfort. Every morning, he wakes up with intentions. Today I'll study. Today I'll work out. Today I'll get ahead. And every day the phone pulls him in. The couch wins. The hard thing gets pushed to tomorrow. His grades slip. His direction disappears. His ambition, the thing that used to light him up, goes quiet. And the painful irony is that the more he avoids discomfort, the more uncomfortable his life becomes. The Stoics had a name for what Mark needed, and it wasn't motivation. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are unreliable. What Mark needed was a practice, a deliberate, daily practice of doing the uncomfortable thing, not because it feels good, but because discomfort is the signal that you're growing. Seneca wrote, and this is one of the most memorable lines in this book, difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. Avoiding hard things doesn't protect you. It weakens you. Every time you choose the comfortable option over the right one, you're quietly training your mind to believe you can't handle difficulty. And then when real difficulty arrives, and it always does, you're unprepared. The book suggests a remarkably practical approach. Do one uncomfortable thing every day. Not something dramatic. Not some massive life overhaul. One thing. A cold shower. An hour without your phone. The task you've been putting off for 3 days. The conversation you've been avoiding. Small, daily doses of voluntary discomfort build a mental callus. And over time, that callus becomes armor. Chapter 4 takes this even deeper, and it introduces what might be the single most clarifying idea in all of Stoic philosophy. Everything in life falls into one of two categories: things you control and things you don't. Your thoughts control. Your effort control. Your attitude control. Your response control. Other people's opinions, no control. The economy, no control. What your boss thinks of you, no control. Whether your post gets likes, absolutely zero control. And yet, look at where most people spend most of their mental energy. They obsess over the second category. They lose sleep over what people think. They refresh pages waiting for validation. They build their entire sense of self-worth on the approval of people who aren't even paying attention half the time. The book tells the story of Sarah. Chicago. Smart. Capable. Spends hours crafting the perfect post, checking the likes, adjusting her personality based on who she's around, shrinking or expanding herself depending on the room. And slowly, quietly, she loses track of who she actually is, because she's been so focused on who others want her to be. The Stoic cure for this isn't arrogance. It's not don't care about anything. It's precision. It's asking before every anxious thought, before every spiral, is this in my control? If yes, act. If no, release. Not forcefully, not through suppression. Just release it, because you never had it to begin with. This is not easy. The book is honest about that. We are social creatures. We are wired to care what others think. That instinct kept us alive in tribal societies. But in the modern world, where we are exposed to thousands of opinions every day, that instinct becomes a prison. Chapter 5. This one is about the most modern form of mental poison that exists. Comparison. David. Scrolling Instagram every morning before he even gets out of bed. Luxury cars. Six-pack abs. Vacations he can't afford. Friends who seem to have figured out everything he hasn't. And with every scroll, something inside him deflates a little more. He stops working on his own goals because they feel small. He stops appreciating what he has because someone online always has more. The Stoics did not have Instagram, but they had the Roman Senate. They had public baths where the rich displayed their wealth. They had gladiatorial games where status was performed. Comparison is not a new problem. It's a human problem, and Seneca wrote about it directly. He said the fastest way to misery is to look sideways at what everyone else has. The book doesn't tell you to delete social media. It tells you to change the comparison. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Start comparing yourself to who you were yesterday. That's it. That's the entire shift. Am I better than I was 24 hours ago? That's the only race worth running, because it's the only one where you control the competition. And this brings us to the final chapter, the place all of this has been building toward. What does a trained Stoic mind actually look like from the inside? It doesn't look like a robot. It doesn't look like suppression or emotional numbness or not caring. That's the biggest misconception about Stoicism. A Stoic mind is not a cold mind. It's a clear one. Jake, the overthinker who missed every opportunity. He learns to question his thoughts instead of obeying them. And he takes the job, not because the fear disappeared, but because he learned the fear was not a fact. Emily, who burned a professional bridge with a single email, she learns the pause. She develops the 10-second gap, and slowly, her reputation rebuilds. Not because she stopped feeling, but because she stopped letting feelings drive. Mark, paralyzed by comfort, he starts the cold showers, the phone-free hours, the hard tasks first, not because it becomes easy, but because discomfort stops feeling like a threat and starts feeling like progress. Sarah, who lost herself in approval-seeking, she asks the question, is this in my control? And she starts making decisions based on her own values instead of other people's reactions. David, depleted by comparison, he puts the phone down in the morning. He asks, am I better than yesterday? And something shifts. Slowly, quietly, he starts moving forward again. The final principle the book leaves you with is this. No external event can disturb a trained mind. Not a criticism, not a setback, not a loss, not the news, not the algorithm, not the economy, not the opinion of someone who doesn't even know you. None of it can reach a mind that has been trained. And the training, that's what this entire book is. A practical, step-by-step guide to building that mind. One thought, one pause, one discomfort at a time. Every single day, the book suggests you end with 2 questions. What did I control today? And where did I react unnecessarily? 2 questions. That's the whole daily practice. Because the Stoics understood something that took most people a lifetime to figure out. The quality of your questions determines the quality of your mind. And the quality of your mind determines the quality of your life. We've covered the framework here today. The big ideas, the stories, the exercises. But this book goes much deeper than what we could cover in one video. Every chapter has layers. Every exercise has nuance. And the real power is not in hearing about it. It's in going through it yourself at your own pace in your own life. The link to get full access to this book is in the description and pinned comment. It's worth it, not because someone told you to read it, but because you felt something during this video. That feeling, that's worth following. The mind you have today is not the mind you're stuck with. It is trainable. It is shapeable. It belongs to you. The question is whether you're ready to actually take control of it.